Hey guys, it is Justin from Wellness Business Secrets, and I'm here with Martin from ShapeScale. And Martin, welcome to the podcast, man.
Well, thank you for having me.
So guys, if you haven't seen ShapeScale, and some of you are listening to this, you can't see it, it is an amazing body analyzer, and I'll let Martin talk about it a little more, but it's just coming from my fitness background, I wish I'd had one of these in my facilities. But Martin, tell me more about the ShapeScale.
Yeah, so it's a really compact 3D body scanner, so you need about 5 by 5 square feet to set up the device. You step on the device, kind of like a scale, and it initiates basically a scanning sequence. It takes about a minute, and after that full minute, it processes in the cloud, and then you get basically a volumetric scan of you that looks exactly like you because we also capture photo texture. And from there, we automatically extract a bunch of different measurements like waist circumference, hip circumference, thighs, biceps, etc., all the way to also volumetric measurements like how much volume you have in your upper torso, lower torso, and your butt. And finally, we also, of course, have body composition metrics like body fat, lean mass, and weight.
And so guys, one thing that's really important, you said, because there are other body scanners on the market. I mean, some of you have seen them. I think the biggest thing is most of you guys are in wellness clinics that footprint matters. How much space you have is huge. But I think the other thing that's really sexy, and we were talking about this earlier, is the portability of this. This can be folded up and moved to a different room or even to a health fair or a show like that.
Correct. So we do have clients that take it like to a marathon and they set it up there, and it's really eye-catching. I mean, you really have to, words don't really, pay the right service. You really have to watch like a video of it. It has a robotic rotating arm. It takes a full 360 around the person that is getting scanned and moves up and down, and it has a colorful LED light ring around the sensor. So when somebody's getting scanned, it really attracts a lot of attention.
Well, and you guys know, if you listen to this podcast, we love the business and the marketing side of things. Bringing somebody into a clinic and having them step on this as the first exposure to what you do, it just sets you apart. It just makes you feel very high. It looks like something from Star Trek. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's actually the grand vision for us, to really build a 3D body scanner that is having an even more compact form factor later on, like sitting in a mirror, and that is going to be in everyone's home. So it can really be an early diagnostic device that can help you to catch all kinds of health issues.
Now, something that I think was really important, and a lot of you guys who are listening have worked with us from medical weight loss. I think what's important with this I just like the psychology standpoint, is so many people, especially women, are coming in and they judge the scale. The scale is the determinant of their weight, determinant of their worth. For them to see that maybe their weight stays the same, but their waist is smaller, for them to see muscle mass going up, I think that information is so valuable to get someone healthy. If you're genuinely in this to get them healthy, it's going to change their perception of the process.
Correct. Yeah. Actually, a lot of our first-time users describe ShapeScale and having the ability to see yourself as other people see you, because now it's very different. It's a bit hard to describe. It's very different than looking at yourself in the mirror, because now you see your full self. You can zoom out. You can rotate. You can see yourself from angles that you can never normally perceive yourself in, and that really provides a much less biased perspective, I think.
I think that's something you mentioned too. I know the other scanners on the market, and nothing against them, we're not going to bash anybody, but you get this kind of blank outline of your body, but the photo side of this really allows you to see you. Like you see what it really is. You see the changes. It's not just this blurry mass, and I think that makes it very real too, from both the good and maybe even causing a little pain, but in a good way of like, I need to change. I need to make a difference.
Yeah, we get that reaction too, of course, every now and then. It's perceived as being like a reality check, like, hey, I really look like that? Wow, I really need to start working out because, I don't want to look like that.
But again, I go back to the process of, if I'm bringing somebody in to sell them a $2,500 to $4,000 body sculpting package or weight loss package, having them in that mindset before we go to the presentation is huge, because now they've seen it. It's reality. It's like going to the doctor and getting your levels checked. It's like, oh, okay, this is real now.
Yeah, it's much more tangible than like looking at a photograph, for example, when, it's a first-time consultation for a body contouring treatment, for example. Now you can actually zoom in and, highlight like a certain area that, you want to, go through a treatment with. And then over time, what is really great, you can take multiple scans and then you can align them side by side. And you can basically zoom in and have a visual comparison paired with a measurement comparison. So it basically you have also proof in the numbers of change.
I think that's huge. So many of you guys, let's just be honest, you have these treatments that make people feel better, and feeling's great, but to be able to back it up with data and say, look, we've done 4 treatments here, this is smaller, And to share that and then to put that in your marketing as well. I mean, that creates so many great assets. And guys, the scans look super cool. If it was me and I had people who were willing to share them, I would have those all over my social media.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the great part about it, right? Like, it helps with first-time consultations, but it also helps with promotions, because now you have these really consistent-looking before and afters with numbers to back it up. Some of our clients, they even offer money-back guarantees. Like, if you don't, have a waistline reduction by at least an inch after X treatments, you get your money back. It's really been a great revenue driver for them.
I think, too, the thing is, and we had a much not as fancy model when I had my businesses, but even just having some sort of body fat analyzer, I think it's cool as it attaches people to your business, because especially in wellness, they might come in for a cryo treatment. They might come in for an injection. But by giving them the option, hey, I want you on this program, on this 12 weeks, you're going to be here once a week for a scan, and they see themselves, it's going to change behavior, but it's going to also attach them to your clinic and do more cross sales and other things as well. Now, how often do you guys see your average person getting scans?
Really depends on the use case. So in case of like body contouring treatments, it's really after every single treatment. In terms of weight management, we've seen anything between 2 to 4 weeks. But we also have some functional medicine clinics, and there it's really more like a quarter or once every half year or year. So it really depends also on what your goals are. Are you looking to maintain? Are you actively trying to achieve a change in your body? Then it makes more sense to get scanned more frequently.
And then something I was thinking about when you walked in is, if it was me, and I'm all about creating revenue and positive ROI from equipment right away, if you get this machine in your business, to even reach out to all your past clients, to all your current clients, and say, hey, come in for a 28-day program that includes these scans, and whatever, it's $100. It doesn't have to be a big deal, but to get them on it, because they're never going to get the old feedback. They can't just go weigh themselves at home and compare it. They're going to want to come back and see the comparison. And so to do that right away, you could probably cover the cost of the unit within 28 days if you were intentional about it.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, like, a lot of our customers, they only really need to, find 3 more customers and it pays for the whole year for a shape scale.
Well, and I think the cool thing is, a lot of you, I know, are bootstrapping, you're pulling it up. You guys do financing, right? So it can be really, really reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, like, you can buy it outright for $10K, but you can finance that at $340 per month, or you can lease it, which is actually our most popular option, which is around $200 per month, and that pays for the device, the software, the processing and cloud storage and support. It's all inclusive. There are no hidden charges.
That's awesome. And there's a lot of scales out there that do charge per scan, per this. Another thing I'm just saying, for anyone out there that gets a shape scale or any other scale for that matter, I highly encourage you to have something very, very large in the front area that says scan $49 or $50 or $25, whatever it is. You may never charge that, but then when you build it into your packages, the perceived value is so much higher. It's like, wow, we're getting 10 scans in this program. That's $250 value, but it's included, and that just changes the perception. Always treat it with value. Don't just say, oh, you get a free scan.
Correct, yeah. Or you can, and then you can bundle it with other services, other consultations, and you can really create a lot of value overall with it.
Now, tell me, how did you guys get into the body analyzing and scanning that you guys are doing?
So it originated with my co-founder, actually, who put on a little bit of weight at a time when he was living in Hong Kong. And he got a personal trainer. He got in a better shape over like 6 weeks. He was feeling better, like many of us, right? Like, you look at yourself in the mirror every day. You feel like you're looking better, but you can't really quite tell where and what has actually happened. So he also had like one of the, more modern looking Wi-Fi scales. And it wasn't really, the numbers weren't really budging much, actually went up a little bit in weight. And it was really frustrating for him because he wasn't really sure if the program was working. And he told that to his personal trainer, and he was like, well, let's take the time to look at your measurements again. So that they took his tape measurements again, and it turned out that he actually went down an entire pant size around his waist, and then he actually gained a little bit around his shoulders. So what really happened was, because he had a lot of resistance training, he was eating protein and all of that, he gained some lean muscle tissue while also losing some body fat. And then it really dawned upon him, okay, if you take all these measurements, which is kind of tedious, it's a little bit invasive, it takes time. And
a lot of user error too.
Yeah, a lot of user error too, right? And him being an engineer, he was like, there's got to be a way to automate that. And that really was what led us to optical 3D scanning. And when we were developing the solution, we were like, okay, we can capture the body in 3D, accurate down to a millimeter, but we can also actually capture the photo texture, and that's really how we arrived at having photorealistic 3D avatars, which is even more powerful because now you can see those changes happening on your own body, which is incredibly motivating.
Well, and something, guys, for those of you who are out there, like bioelectrical impedance, which is what 90% of the units that are not optical use. I've had clients lose 15 pounds when I had my facilities, but they drank too much water before they came in. They ate some food, they had a chicken breast at dinner. Like that all affects it. And so unless they're coming in a fasted state, it's hard to be as accurate versus this is showing them their real body.
Correct. I mean, it's much less prone to, like the fluctuations you see when using a bioelectrical impedance scale, right? Like, because that is really heavily influenced by your hydration levels. If you've been exercising before getting on that scale, or if you had a lot of water, that's going to completely change your body composition numbers using that scale. That's not an issue that you're going to have to the same extent using a shape scale device.
Well, and I think just again, there's one thing about being faced with a number and saying, oh, my body fat percentage is 32%. Numbers don't really translate to emotion sometimes, which is what creates buying decision. But when you see yourself, again, we've already said it, but it's just humbling in it. This definitely makes you like, okay, I can't do this on my own. And you don't want to discourage your people, but that's where you need to get them to make that decision to join your business. So what kind of, if I join up with ShapeScale, what kind of support and resources do you guys provide?
So basically, we provide you with some marketing material that basically allows you to promote your ShapeScale at your business to your members and outside of those members on Instagram. Email templates for, basically emailing your members or your email list that you may have. And then we also provide some print materials, like that you can print and basically promote it for new customers that come to your business to make them aware about ShapeScale and its benefits. And
then if someone wants to see the ShapeScale or get more information, what is the website?
It's shapescale.com. And you can also book a virtual demo on there where basically you get a one-on-one consultation to really understand how you can potentially integrate it into your own business.
Awesome. Well, guys, I definitely encourage you to check it out. I got to see it here at CryoCon. It's amazing. And thank you for being on today, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, Justin.